My name is Sophia, and I'm 38 years old, a freelance photographer specializing in stock images and commercial contracts, nestled in the quiet suburbs of New York. My cozy home has a small backyard patio where I spend hours capturing the perfect shots of everyday scenes, sipping on black coffee while the city hums in the distance. You're hearing this story on Renvenge Zinnia, the channel where long-buried truths come to light, shared straight from the voices of those who lived through the heartache and triumph. If you've ever felt the sting of betrayal in your own life, wondering how to pick up the pieces and reclaim your strength, stick with me. Stories like this remind us we're not alone in the fight for justice. And if these tales resonate with you, hit that subscribe button to join our community and never miss a moment of empowerment. That serene routine shattered one crisp Wednesday evening, the very day I expected my husband to return from his extended business trip, but he didn't walk through the door alone. As I swung open the front door, Ethan, my husband of 15 years, stepped inside with a stone-cold face and slapped a hefty envelope onto the kitchen counter. Before I could utter a word, he said in that detached voice, "These are the divorce papers. Sign them, and starting next month, wire me. $12,000 every month. You don't do a damn thing around here anyway." I froze right there, staring at him like he'd become a total stranger. But it wasn't just the papers that hit me like a ton of bricks. It was the woman lurking behind him. Olivia, my closest friend since high school. The one who'd been my bridesmaid and confidant through every high and low, now latched onto Ethan's arm with that triumphant smirk, as if she'd claimed my whole world for herself. I drew in a shaky breath, a whirlwind of questions racing through my mind, but all that came out was a steady, "Divorce? Fine." They both looked stunned by how composed I stayed. Ethan arched an eyebrow like he couldn't wrap his head around my lack of hysterics. But deep down, I knew my silence was just armor, cracking under the weight, because right then, a spark ignited inside me, a strategy forming in the chaos. I didn't demand explanations. It was crystal clear what had happened. Instead, I locked eyes with Ethan, scooped up the folder without a fuss, and retreated to my home studio. As the door latched shut, I caught Olivia murmuring to him, "See? I told you she'd fold without a fight. Someone that passive, what's to worry about?" I sank into my chair, laying the divorce papers out before me, my hands shaking not from sorrow but from pure rage. Rage at myself for missing the signs, for letting these two traitors waltz into my life and home like victors, smug as ever. Ethan always preached that I was lucky to have him, that he tolerated my hobby of snapping photos for what he called worthless gigs. And I'd bought into it, not realizing how I'd been drowning in a lopsided marriage where affection and dignity only went one way, but no more. I rose, faced the mirror, and stared back at the woman I'd become. No tears, just Sophia, once gentle, now hardening like forged steel. That very night, I fired off an email to my lawyer, the one who'd managed my photo licensing deals, asking her to comb through every asset in my name, and I reactivated a hidden savings account where I'd stashed royalties from my shoots, a sum that would floor Ethan if he ever glimpsed it. I'd been undervalued for too long, and that oversight was now my sharpest tool, because they had no clue what was coming. I first met Olivia at 17 in the halls of our Boston high school. Her auburn hair framed a smile that could charm anyone, and we bonded instantly over shared notes in biology. One day, she whispered, "Puppies are cute, but I prefer the thrill of something already claimed, like those taken guys." I laughed it off as teen banter, but Olivia's pattern emerged. She'd cozy up to friends' boyfriends, then play innocent with, "They approached me. I did nothing." Still, I stayed loyal. She made me feel special, and I thought our bond was unbreakable, especially after she heard about my crush on Ethan from photography club. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply, only to question it later? When Ethan confessed his feelings senior year, I was stunned. I'd seen him and Olivia giggling over project photos in the library, assuming he liked her. But he picked me, and Olivia beamed, "I'm so happy for you." I believed her. College scattered us. Me in New York for art, Ethan in Philly for engineering, Olivia in California. But we'd reunite at a Boston diner, our sanctuary of coffee mugs, old jukebox tunes, and carefree chats. No pressures, just us three. At 26, Olivia announced her engagement to Marcus, a reliable software engineer in Los Angeles. Meeting him, I thought, finally she's settled. He was thoughtful, refilling her glass without a word, his eyes full of genuine care, unlike her past flings. Their beach wedding was magical. I curated the photo album. Olivia hugged me tight. "You're my forever trust, you and Marcus." But trust crumbles fast when betrayal creeps in. 3 years later, Olivia's calls turned frequent. First work talk, then complaints about Marcus being too quiet, too dull. Talk to him, I'd urge. But did she want fixes? Soon, Ethan changed, sneaking out, hiding texts, chuckling at his phone. One glimpse, "I miss you too." Dread hit me, but fear silenced questions. Until that divorce day when Ethan brought Olivia home, it all snapped into focus. The lies had started long ago. I'd just been blind. 6 years back, Olivia glowed at her checkup, cradling a 3-month bump. She told me first, "Sophia, I'm pregnant, something truly mine." Ethan stepped up for rides, blaming Marcus's LA workload. I smiled, thinking friends help friends, but it escalated. Vitamins, ultrasounds, diet notes in his book. Week 16 greens. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Helping a friend. Marcus is absent," he snapped. Nights away followed. Olivia's cramping, he'd skip work for her classes. "Marcus should go," I'd say. Ethan exploded, "Selfish, Sophia. You hide in your darkroom. You don't get pregnancy isolation." I swallowed it, fearing breakage. At Lily's birth, Ethan waited outside, not Marcus. A nurse noted, "Your husband's so attentive to Ms. Olivia." Shockwaves hit. Post-baby, Ethan vanished homeward. Neighbors assumed he was Lily's dad. The third time she called him daddy at a barbecue, it slapped hard. I fled to the porch. Ethan followed. "Imagining again?" I confronted. "What are you doing?" "You're always with her. What about us?" He laughed. "You don't get it. Olivia needs me. Marcus lacks sensitivity. You're too independent. You need no one." That pierced like ice. Independent? Yes, but not invisible. A rift widened. Ethan shuttled homes, using help as cover. We knew it wasn't friendship anymore. Looking back, red flags waved. Why didn't I see? But awakening was coming, fierce and final. "I'm not forgiving," I said, my voice firm as steel. "But I'm not exploding this now." Marcus agreed. We wait until Lily's old enough to handle the truth without it scarring her. As we wrapped up that heavy conversation, sipping the last of our coffee, we both knew action couldn't wait forever. But waiting didn't mean idling. It meant building our case quietly, turning patience into power. I dove in right away, compiling evidence. Every suspicious email, text log from Ethan's phone, his erratic schedule that screamed secrets, and those odd credit card charges for motel stays just outside town. Marcus did the same on Olivia's end, pulling phone records, recovering deleted messages that painted a clear picture of deceit. We swapped info discreetly, like partners in a covert operation, our shared betrayal forging an unlikely alliance. Olivia and Ethan remained clueless, parading as the perfect pair at family picnics, cuddling Lily with grins straight out of a Hallmark movie. But deep down, I knew our day would come, and I'd hold the winning hand. No longer the trusting wife waiting by the window, ignoring the perfume on his collar. I was Sophia, reclaiming what was mine, step by deliberate step. In the weeks that followed, as our plans solidified, we met every weekend under innocent pretexts, co-parenting chats about Lily's schoolwork or photography lessons I'd give her, teaching her to capture the world through a lens just like I had. To outsiders, we were just two responsible adults navigating blended family ties. Only we knew each nod and smile hid layers of strategy. Once, as Lily dozed on the couch mid-lesson, Marcus whispered, "I thought Olivia was my lifelong rock." I smiled sadly. Me too. No more words were needed, just that shared glance, fueling our quiet resolve. The truth would surface, not in fury, but with the patience forged from deep wounds. Yet amid this careful plotting, life had its own twists. It started innocently enough during a routine physical I'd scheduled months earlier, the kind you book to stay on top of things, never expecting a bombshell. The doctor squinted at my scans. Abnormal results, we need more tests. Sitting in that sterile waiting room, 3 days on, IV in my arm, hospital bed, my new office, I kept editing photos for my next book project. Not for the cash. It grounded me, reminded me I mattered. Lily, the child I'd taught to frame shots and sang lullabies to, grew distant post her 14th birthday. Texts went unanswered or curt. School stuff. I knew Olivia's hand, spinning tales to build walls between us. She excelled at twisting emotions, especially a teen's. Marcus visited weekly, bearing daisies or apple turnovers, my favorites. He'd sit quietly chatting about work, Lily, our shared history. His steady presence became my anchor in the cold sterility. One day, Ethan showed unannounced, rumpled shirt, jeans, a bag of oranges. "I'm allergic." "Quick stop, Olivia's in the car," he said. I nodded silently. His eyes landed on my laptop edits. He smirked. "Still fiddling with those snaps? With your health, maybe rest." I ignored, clicking through images. After silence, he muttered, "Heard about your big deal." I looked up. Curiosity, not concern. "Yeah, a studio's adapting my City Shadows series into a photo book and docu-film, signed last week." He scoffed. "Impressive. You're set. Don't need anyone." I smiled. "Exactly. Especially not folks who were never there." He left without a word, his shadow fading like the husband he once was. I returned to my screen, framing a shot of an open road, free from deceit, mockery, a fresh horizon. I'd left for tests, 15 minutes tops, returned to 18 missed calls from Ethan. Curious and drained, I called back. He yelled, "Sophia, what the hell?" Foreclosure sign on the house, 3 days to vacate. "It's ours." I chuckled softly. "No, Ethan, it's mine. Bought. Pre-marriage, my down payment, mortgage, taxes. You contributed zip." "I'm your husband. Talk to me first." He barked. Calmly, adjusting my IV, "We're separating. Divorce pending. From the day you brought Olivia in like it was nothing, your voice stopped mattering." Crash in background, Olivia shrieking, "We're family!" On speaker, "Family without truth is illusion. I'm grounding you in reality." "Fine," he softened, "but you owe $12,000 monthly. You promised support." I laughed. Never did. Check prenup clause 12. Premarital assets exempt. Silence, then pleading. "We were real once. I screwed up, but with your success, must you be cruel?" Staring at the ceiling. "Not cruel, just done being exposed. Lawyer handles it now." Click. Next day, Olivia texted long. Guilt mixed with blame, ending, "You were my bestie. Didn't think you'd go this far." No reply. My mind echoed. Who pushed first? My lawyer, Patricia Kane, a no-nonsense 60-something, sent notices, records proving my ownership. I wanted no more from them, just clarity. I wasn't the tea-pouring pushover anymore. Days later, Marcus visited with turnovers, showing Lily's school pics. "You okay?" he asked. I smiled. "Closed a door. Feels freeing." He nodded, hand over mine. "Time for your own new one." One March day, post 2 months treatment, Doc cleared short home leave. Marcus drove me to my rented apartment, quiet, overlooking a maple grove. Less than 3 days, call from Ethan's mom, Evelyn. "Sophia, come, it's chaos." I'd severed ties with Ethan and Olivia, but Evelyn and Arthur had been kind. I texted Marcus, "Heading to Ethan's, something's up." Arrival. Living room turmoil. Ethan and Olivia arguing, Lily in corner, eyes swollen. Evelyn gripped my hand. Thanks for coming. She needs you, but it's bigger." The room hushed as Lily stood, eyes resolute beyond her years. "Aunt Sophia," she said, first in months. I blinked. She faced Olivia. "Time to clear this." Olivia frowned. "Family business. No outsiders." "You're not family," Lily fired, silencing all. Olivia paled. Ethan stared in disbelief. Lily continued, her words measured, as if rehearsed in the quiet of her room. "The one I see as my mom is the person who stayed up through fevers, held my hand while I learned to focus a camera, taught me what's right and how to love without strings." She turned to me, tears streaming but voice strong. "That's you, Mom Sophia, no one else." I didn't realize my own tears had started until they blurred my vision, not from victory, but from a heart mended by truth after so much doubt. Olivia, trembling, whispered, "Lily, I carried you." "But you didn't raise me," Lily shot back, her voice cracking now. "You used me like a pawn in your games." Arthur stood then, patting Lily's shoulder gently, his eyes on Ethan. "Son, do you see what you've lost? Not just Sophia, your own daughter just schooled you on trust, something you might never grasp." The silence was thick, broken only by the tick of the grandfather clock in the hall, a sound that echoed like judgment. I took a steadying breath and spoke softly. "Lily, I've known for years you're Ethan's biological child." Gasps rippled through the room. I overheard Olivia with her doctor back then, confirmed it quietly, but I stayed silent, not out of weakness, but because you needed stability, not scandal. I locked eyes with Ethan, no rage left, just pity. "You've taken plenty from me, but not the love I have for her." Lily crossed the room, wrapping me in a hug. "I'm sorry for believing the wrong stories for a bit, but I won't lose you again." In that embrace, I knew life's thefts couldn't touch what mattered, a bond chosen not by blood but by heart, worth more than any label. The gathering seemed to wind down after Lily's words, but as I prepared to leave with her, a voice at the door froze us all. "Sorry I'm late. Figured I'd round out the cast." Heads turned. Marcus stepped in, composed as ever, but his eyes sharp like a hawk's. He fixed on Olivia, his ex, in name only. "You never signed the divorce papers properly. That stack from 8 months ago? Just a draft. No lawyer's seal, no notary. Never filed." Olivia stiffened. "What?" Marcus smirked faintly. "Legally, you're still my wife." Ethan barked a harsh laugh. "Come on, Marcus, a guy your age clinging to the past? Wake up. She chose me." Marcus didn't flinch, pulling out his phone and flashing the screen. "Not clinging, just clarifying, especially since you've been pawning our wedding gifts to fund shady investments with your new flame." Olivia went ashen. Ethan shifted nervously. "Enough of this charade," Ethan snarled. "You think your little speeches will break me? I know Sophia's no powerhouse, just a lucky shutterbug with no real clout." I smiled calmly, pulling my tablet from my bag and turning the screen to the room. Rows of deposits from top agencies, current balance $520,000 in my main account alone. "Actually, Ethan, luck's maybe 5%. The rest? Hard work you never noticed." My voice stayed even. 3 ongoing contracts, a photo series turning into a docu-film this fall, 4 book deals topping bestseller lists last year, income close to $750,000 annually. Ethan gaped. Olivia stepped back, speechless. "While you two schemed and snickered behind my back, I built my own empire, one that thrives on talent, not pity, and sure doesn't need your kind." The room hushed again, that clock ticking like a heartbeat. Olivia finally murmured, soft and strange, "Sophia, there were misunderstandings. Maybe we could try again?" I met her eyes. No hate, just closure. "All I ever wanted was honesty, and you couldn't give it. A sold-out friendship isn't something you slip back into like an old sweater. Nothing left to rebuild." Ethan stood frozen, mouth agape, but I turned away, taking Lily's hand. No apologies needed. Just know, from here, my life's got no space for deceivers. I walked out that door with head high, a chosen family by my side, and 2 fools behind who once pegged me as the loser. They were dead wrong, and this time, proof spoke louder than words. A few weeks after that explosive gathering at Ethan's parents' house, the whispers spread through our tight-knit New York suburb like wildfire on a dry autumn day. The kind of gossip that folks in our generation remember from small-town America, where secrets don't stay buried long. Ethan faced the music first. His father, Arthur, a no-nonsense man who'd built his real estate business from the ground up after serving in Korea, finally drew the line. No more covering for his son's missteps. At a family meeting in their living room, with the same ticking grandfather clock bearing witness, Arthur laid it out plain. "You've lost our trust, son. From now on, you'll earn your keep the hard way. And if you want any shot at redemption, start at the bottom." Ethan was fired from his cushy role overseeing development projects, the scandal too big to sweep under the rug. Days later, he was shipped off to a rugged fishing outfit on the rocky Maine coast, where alarms blared at 4 a.m., and rest came on swaying metal bunks amid the salty Atlantic spray. He rang me once, his voice a mix of desperation and defeat, but I let it go to voicemail. Some bridges, once burned, aren't worth rebuilding. As for Olivia, her fall was just as swift, the glamour she'd painted her life with peeling away like old wallpaper. With her credibility shattered and those failed investments catching up, turns out pawning wedding gifts doesn't build empires. She ended up in a dingy motel on the city's south side, the sort of place with flickering neon signs and thin walls that echo the highway hum. Her days shifted to waiting tables at a greasy spoon diner during lunch rushes, hustling delivery gigs in the evenings for apps that paid peanuts, and pulling weekend shifts in a warehouse stacking boxes under fluorescent lights that buzzed like angry bees. Once the woman who turned heads at cocktail parties, always with a story to spin, Olivia shrank into the shadows, her charm no match for the cold reality of consequences. The courts didn't take long to decide on Lily. After reviewing Marcus's ironclad documents and hearing Lily's own heartfelt testimony, spoken with the poise of someone far beyond her 14 years, the judge granted Marcus full guardianship. Olivia lost visitation rights unless cleared by him, a ruling that echoed the finality of a door slamming shut on her manipulations. Meanwhile, my own path started brightening, like the first rays of dawn after a long, stormy night. My health turned a corner, the treatments eased up, fewer rounds needed, and the doc said if my labs stayed steady for another stretch, I'd be cleared for good. Just routine checkups like any sensible folks our age schedule to stay ahead of things. I eased back into my photography, those vibrant sessions in the darkroom where I'd lose myself in developing prints, capturing the world's quiet beauties in black and white or bursts of color. Pain still lingered in the corners of my mind, but in that creative space, it faded, transformed into stories of hope rather than hurt. It was like rediscovering an old friend, the camera that had seen me through thick and thin, reminding me that even in America's hustle, there's room for quiet reflection and rebuilding. And rebuild I did, with new beginnings sprouting like spring crocuses after a harsh winter. I caught up with Lily one sunny May afternoon at the local library, that grand old building with its towering shelves and the faint scent of aged paper, a place where generations before us found solace in stories. She was poring over a Spanish edition of one of my photo books, the ones that had climbed the bestseller lists with images of everyday American life. Kids playing stickball in city streets, families gathered around Thanksgiving tables, the kind of scenes that tug at heartstrings. "Why Spanish?" I asked, resting a hand on her shoulder. She looked up, eyes sparkling. "I want to translate your book someday, Mom. Let kids everywhere see your world, even if I'm halfway across it." My heart swelled like it hadn't in years. I dreamed of a simple life, just me and my lens. But Lily showed me my work could ripple out, touching souls I'd never meet, inspiring the next wave in this great land of opportunity. My recovery wasn't just physical, it opened doors to fresh starts in ways I hadn't expected. One evening, as I sat in my studio, sorting through negatives under the warm glow of a desk lamp, Marcus walked in, bouquet of wildflowers in hand, the simple kind you'd pick from a roadside meadow on a Sunday drive. "I've been pondering," he said plainly in that thoughtful way of his. "Life's handed us second chances. I don't aim to squander mine. Sophia, would you consider starting over, with someone who values you, who sticks around?" I paused, the weight of our shared trials hanging in the air. We'd weathered betrayal together, seen each other's scars up close. His kindness wasn't flash in the pan, it had been tested through fire and time, the sort of steadfastness our parents' generation prized in the face of adversity. I didn't rush an answer. I placed the flowers in a vase, their scent filling the room like hope. "Would you wait?" I asked. He nodded. "As long as it takes." And I believed him, not from flowery promises, but because in a world that had knocked me flat more times than I could count, Marcus was the one who never tried to fix or change me. He just stayed, solid as an oak. Sophia's story, my story, shows that sometimes the deepest losses carve paths to freedom and renewal, much like how our nation rose from hardships to build something stronger. Betrayed by those closest, I didn't crumble. I rebuilt with quiet determination and grace, my resilience and creativity not only delivering justice, but lighting a fire for the young ones coming up. In a world riddled with pains, choosing to live authentically, that's the truest win of all. What do you make of this journey, friends? Have you faced betrayals that led to your own rebirth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories inspire us all. And if these tales of heart and grit speak to you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more uplifting accounts of family, life, and the American spirit that endures. Hit that bell too, so you never miss a beat. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep holding on.